love the peace and quiet out here.
This is Incursion Red River. It came out last year, though it's still in early access, and I think you should give it a try. A lot of people, including myself, note that it's very similar to Tarkov, but I haven't tried Tarkov, and I've tried this. And for the exact same reasons why I have not tried Tarkov yet, are the reasons why I like this game. I'm not managing thirst, hunger, nor any other extraneous mechanics. The price point is way better, and most of all, it's PvE only. So no more getting taken out of a raid by some cracked out 9-year-old from halfway across the map. It's just you, maybe some buddies if you choose to play co-op, and the enemies. You can choose to deploy at various times. The B-roll I took happens to be early morning, though you can experience the map at any time. And there's been a few raids where I've jumped in mid to late afternoon, and the map has slowly turned to night over the course of me completing the mission, which is horrific if you don't have night vision. So at its core, it still is a tactical extraction shooter. You select a mission, you select maybe some side objectives, and then you jump into a map. The objectives are highlighted on your GCPS. You find them, complete the objectives, and extract. Hopefully along the way, you get out with some decent loot. It has all the same really interesting inventory mechanics, different armor ratings, armor penetration on various weapons, etc, etc. It becomes really granular once you start getting into the game. I love the depth of customization involved, and a lot of people say the graphics don't hold up, but I think they look really good. I've often found myself just stopping to admire the scenery. Some people have noted that the public matchmaking doesn't seem to work quite well, but me being the shut-in that I am, I haven't tried, nor do I think I will. I am excited to try this in co-op with some buddies of mine, though it does seem to be a very tense, exciting experience just in single player. The most important thing to note is that this game is still in early access, so there are many changes to come, and the devs have put out a roadmap. It features a lot of the changes that I wanted to see to begin with, though I do hope things like the enemy AI can be made to be more advanced in their movements and taking cover. That said, I have already noticed a pretty decent variety in how the AI behaves, and they do a pretty good job of moving from cover to cover. Overall, for an early access game, being in a very playable state for only about 17 bucks, I think it's more than worth it, and I'm having a ton of fun. I think one of the best words to describe this game right now is tense. It being set in Vietnam, where a lot of the environment is very densely foliated until it opens out to these wide sightlines, it makes for this really interesting challenge trying to section off crossings and areas outside of the jungle as you're moving out of the tree line and in between cover in the more urban areas. It is really interesting finding enemies that have really heavily customized weapons on them that gives you a chance to try higher level weapons as a new player. That said, you can buy and customize weapons and pick up higher level pieces of gear as you increase your reputation with the various factions. I haven't had an issue with trying various new pieces of gear because of how often I've been finding loot. This being a single player to co-op game, you can customize the AI. You can make them more or less difficult to adjust to your play experience. I plan on recording and streaming this game more as I gain more familiarity. To be clear, as much as I am recommending this game, I'm not sponsored or anything. I picked this game up literally last night, and I had so much fun trying it out that I decided to sit down and make a video about it today to recommend it. And while it's not perfect, it is an early access experience. I find it to be everything that I wish Tarkov was for players who may not be as heavily invested in the tactical experience, while still retaining 99% of what makes a tactical shooter that. And all that comes at a much lower and more accessible price point for players. And it being an early access game, you can look forward to more updates and more attention from the developers. So overall, I think this is a really, really cool project that I'm happy to have gotten my hands on. I did used to play quite a bit of Hunt Showdown and DayZ, and both of those experiences I felt could have benefited from a PvE only experience or being more similar to this sort of experience in Incursion. And as much fun as I had goofing around with my friends in those games, it was a very regular experience to have that be interrupted by someone who was looking for a different experience from the game than we were, who was maybe more serious, who wanted to snipe, who wanted to do this and do that, and be competitive, and those games just didn't offer that kind of middle ground. whereas Incursion Red River does, and I find that very exciting, and I look forward to playing more of this, and I think you should too.